If you're someone who has to sell the home you're in to move into your next home and you're terrified of becoming a buyer in today's seller's market, then this video is for you. Hey guys, my name is Adam Barks with eXp Realty here in Charleston, and I was recently a guest on a realtor in Colorado's YouTube channel, and we discussed 5 tips, tricks, and tools that we're using to help our clients move up or sell a home to purchase the next home in a seller's market. So let's get started.
How is the real estate market in Charleston, South Carolina? But more along that maybe you could answer, what problems are your clients experiencing in the Charleston real estate market?
The inventory is very tight, so for anyone trying to buy a home here, it's really a challenge at this point.
So are you seeing a lot of competitive offers, multiple offer situations?
Yeah, we are. In fact, our days on market's down to less than 2 on average. So it's a very tight competitive market here. And yeah, multiple offers are common.
Awesome. So kind of along the same lines, I'm going to talk about the Colorado real estate market, kind of along the same lines. You know, I always answer, how is the market? Well, it kind of depends who you are in the market. If you're a buyer, a seller, investor, a homeowner, a landlord, a renter, who you are in the market, that's going to depend on your experience in the market. But it is a very weird market for somebody that wants to sell and buy. But again, the numbers don't lie. Really, all of Colorado, wherever you're at, we're experiencing a shortage of inventory. And that's really where our expertise is going to come in. And we're going to go over 5 hacks to help those people that they want to move, but they're hearing there's not a lot of homes for sale. So we're going to kind of give them some hacks or some solutions so that they're not nervous about making that move.
Right, and that is one of the scariest things, isn't it? To know that your house is going to sell quickly, but then on the flip side, how are you going to get into the home that you really want to be in next?
Right. So I'm going to ask you about the first hack, which is hack number 1 is sell your home first, but also add a favorable post-occupancy and lease back agreement. So can you please explain, why is that a solution?
Well, what you really want to ultimately do if you have to sell your home to move into your next home is make the next offer as advantageous to that seller as possible. So if you're able to have a flexible closing date on the home that you own, in addition to being able to actually close on it and pull your cash out to facilitate you as a cash buyer on the next move, that's really the advantage there.
Right. And you know, if you've already sold your home, you have that cash deposit in the bank, which means you have verified funds for that down payment, which also helps out your offer, makes your offer more attractive when you are out there in a competitive offer situation. So want to talk a little bit about, because we put some real estate terms like a post-occupancy agreement or a lease back agreement. Can you explain what those are?
Sure. You know, it's pretty simple, really. When you sell your home, you're renting it back from the folks that just bought it from you. And those terms are negotiated at the beginning of your purchase negotiation with that buyer. So in a competitive seller's market, a lot of times buyers are willing to accommodate a lease back to get the home that they're looking for.
Awesome. So here, lenders really limit us on the amount of time, but it's not a strong limit, but it's up to 60 days. Is that the same for you, where it's a 60-day limit on a post-occupancy agreement?
That's depending on the mortgage. I believe you're right, 60 days. But, you know, if you have a cash buyer coming in, sky's the limit, right?
Exactly. So let's talk about the next hack, which is really, really attractive to home buyers right now. And there's several reasons why. So the next hack, by the way, if any of you are watching, looks like we do have some viewers. If you are watching and you have any questions about this, please feel free to post in the chat bar, and we'll try to answer the questions as they come. So the next hack is to buy new construction. Why is this a great option for people that want to sell and then buy?
Well, if you're buying new construction, and how is your new construction market out in Greeley and Fort Collins, Brian?
So it's tight, but it is helping out our market with listings. But it is tight, and it is appreciating in home prices due to cost of goods.
Same here. It's kind of it's the relief valve that we need in our market because resale homes are very tight. And the benefit of new construction is that you have that long-term locked-in contract, and you can time out your listing and your sale really based on the timeline given to you by the builder. I found that to be a lot less stressful.
Right, and a lot of new home builders out here, they're very lenient on the contingency to sell your home. And so, like, for example, I'm under contract with the client right now. They're not supposed to close until December, but we don't have to list their home until 90 days prior to the estimated close date or completion of the build. And so that's like 9 months away. Well, over 6 months, what's happening right now is that homeowner in this client, they're actually earning equity, but they're locked in on the price of the contract. So they're earning equity on the home, gaining more cash. The market is tightening up for them, and they're in a very, very good advantageous situation right now.
I just had that same situation close where 10 months ago, my clients got under contract during COVID. Everything slowed down. It took a while to close the property, but over the course of that 10 months, the equity in the home that they had locked in at the price they did rose by $80,000. So
wow,
it's a good time to consider new construction.
Yeah, so those longer contracts are almost desirable for both ends because you're locked in on a price as a buyer and you're gaining equity as a seller. So that's a great option.
Especially, and you got to talk about mortgage rates for a minute too, because they're better today than they might be in 6 months, right? So, again.
Exactly, and it seems like for the past several years, we've seen predictions that interest rates are going to climb, and they do, and then they come back down, and then they go up, and then they go back down. So you can lock in that rate when it's advantageous for you. All right. Let's move on to hack number 3. This one is really outside the box here, but hack number 3 is about creative financing to make your offer more attractive to the seller. So Adam, can you talk about or mention some of the creative financing options a seller and buyer might have?
Sure. Well, I don't want to get too much into the lending aspect of it, but there are bridge loans we're starting to see here again. And man, how long has it been since bridge loans were even a thing you were talking about? But in essence, there are options to take if you have equity in your home and you have a home that you have to sell, that you can bring to that next contract that remove the contingency to sell and bring basically a full cash offer instead. That's one of the creative options that are out there. And these don't work for everyone.
Right, and with every type of loan, every style of loan, or every style of financing, there's some advantages to it and some disadvantages to it. And refinancing, cash out refinancing might be a creative way. So using your home to pull out that equity, so you have a large down payment for the home that you want, and then you sell your home. There are some costs, for example, closing costs to do that. And it might be a few $1,000s, but again, what's holding you back from reaching that home? So That would be
a lot of times it's not the money anymore, right? It's actually getting the deals done.
Exactly. So with the creative financing, there's one other that you had mentioned, and it was hard money. Can you explain what that is or why that might be advantageous?
Well, it's basically, how much cash can you get, right?
Yeah.
You want to become a cash buyer if you can, because we all know that, at the end of the day, cash is king, right? And so if you can hit up your uncle or, some other cash, options might be a way to get that next home.
Right. Yeah. And so a lot of times it might be a few $1,000s off, and there might be family or friends that a person might have that could provide a gift of funds for a down payment. Whether you pay that back or not to them, that would be between you and whoever provided that money. But there might be other ways to think outside the box for a larger down payment. Again, that helps make your offer more attractive as a home buyer in a tight market, because cash it really is king. And the more qualified you are as a buyer, then that removes a lot of risk for the seller. And that, as a buyer, that's what we're trying to do in a really, really, really tight seller market right now.
Absolutely, because everyone is trying to make their offer the most attractive to the seller. So everyone wants to bend over backwards to accommodate whatever that seller needs, right?
Exactly. Sorry, I interrupted you. Were you going to say something else?
Mm-mm.
Okay. All right. So let's move on to hack number 4. Hack number 4 is, we've already mentioned this with new construction, but that is take some time. Do you want to explain what that means?
Well, to me, that means don't get enamored with something and crazy like you have to make a move today. If you don't have to, we're rolling into that spring, summer crazy market here in Charleston. I don't know how it is in your market, Brian, but if you can wait until after the kids get in school, sometimes we see it to be a little more advantageous for buyers.
Yeah, so seasonal waiting can be really helpful if you're a buyer, because, for example, the winter season out here tends to have less home sales than a spring or summer season. Just looking at the overall home sales, which means there's less buyers searching for homes out there. So that might be a good time to take advantage of less competition. I always give the example. I used to be a educator, a teacher, and going through real estate, one thing I do notice is there are a couple months out of the year that people really could take advantage of buying a home because everybody's mind is on something else. One of those months is August. Why August? Well, that's when school starts for a lot of people, and families and people. That's what they're thinking about, is getting school started. They're not thinking about buying a home. They're thinking about getting school started. Whereas at the end of the school year, that's when it becomes really hot, and families want to move by the time the next school year starts, creating more buyer competition. So, there's ways to look at it, but there are definite months and definite seasons that you might be able to take advantage of less buyer competition.
Great point. Yes, I agree with that.
Okay, and hack number 5 here. Hack number 5 is talking about the difference about a mortgage pre-approval, a pre-qualification, and actually going through underwriting and being credit approved.
Right, boy, this is huge, because if you do need to come with a mortgage, it's critical that you put your best foot forward with that lender and with that offer. So, Brian, talk about that with us a little bit.
Yeah. So, the way I think of it and the way I experience, first of all, let me say every lender is different. Their systems and processes are different. But so I'm really generalizing, and I don't want to speak on behalf of lenders. But there are definite different ways to have a pre-qualification, a pre-approval, and a credit approval. So a pre-qualification, that's just like a 10-minute phone conversation with the lender. They ask you a few questions. They don't do a lot of research. They don't do a lot of investigation on you. They don't do a soft credit pull. They just ask you, are you employed? Who's your employer? About how much income do you have? Nothing is verified. And they say, well, based off of this, you would qualify for this amount. And we call that a pre-qualification. Mm-hmm. A pre-approval is a little bit more in depth in that a pre-approval, they do investigate. They do a soft credit pull. They do verify that you are employed. They do verify that you have the income through pay stubs. They do look at your past 2-year tax returns, et cetera. And so they say, based on this information, we believe that we could provide a loan for this amount. So that's a pre-approval. So it gives you a little bit more strength to your offer compared to the pre-qualification, which was the 10-minute conversation. Yeah. Now, the credit approval is where the bank has actually they've received all your information. They've said, hey, we've pre-approved you for this amount. They've verified your employment, your tax returns, but they've actually sent the file to their underwriters. And their underwriters review the file and they say, yes, we will provide credit, which is a loan, for this amount. And then you are credit approved, which is basically like it's not a cash offer, but it's almost a cash offer. There's a contingency of the appraisal in there, but that is that strengthens your offer being credit approved compared to pre-approved.
Absolutely. I don't think you can get a better, more offer with a loan than credit approved.
Exactly. And the only thing that might trump that would be all cash offer.
Sure. And I'll say this too, at least in our market, you need to work with a good, reputable mortgage lender. Somebody that has a reputation of closing deals.
Yeah, and that goes with realtors or real estate agents, whomever it is you're working with. It's amazing because a lot of times what helps go under contract is the credibility of the people. Yeah. And it's the relationships that have been built between local agents, local lenders, and that actually helps strengthen the offer. So I do think that help yourself with going local is it's not a hack, but it is a hack. It just builds that credibility. We're able to speak to that person based on relationship and past experiences.
100%. Who you work with matters, period. And the mortgage lending part of it's just as important.
Yep. So, Adam, just want to review, we've talked about 5 hacks here. So the first hack was, sell your home with a favorable post-occupancy lease back agreement. Hack number 2 was looking at new construction, because that buys you time and it earns you equity when you're going to sell. It's a long-term price fix on the purchase, but you're gaining equity on the home sale. Hack number 3 was figuring out some creative financing, bridge loans, hard money, funds from others. That's kind of the really outside the box idea. Hack number 4 was taking some time, find different seasons where there's less buyers in the market, or different months. Look at trending months, and that's a way to outperform your competition. And hack number 5 is that mortgage pre-approval versus a credit approved. Really, basically making your offer almost all cash. Is there anything else you would like to add to this?
No, but I think that number 5 really is important because most folks may not be able to make those other out of the box options work. So taking that extra time to go ahead and be completely credit worthy so that your real estate agent can go and present the offer super strong, right? With just you and your best foot forward. That's really important at the end of the day.
Yep, exactly. And you know, there's also, because the work has been done prior, there's not really a lot of stress in that the loan's going to get denied because it's already been credit approved.
That's right.
So that I would say number 5 is probably the hack that probably out of all of these is the one to pay attention to the most. If I'm a person that wants to buy, or if I'm a person that wants to move up and buy as well. Well, Adam, I know you are an outstanding agent. You know, I always say in real estate, who you work with matters. I see your videos on YouTube. You have your own YouTube channel, Living in Charleston, South Carolina. I see your Facebook pages. I see your testimonials. I know you personally. We did a mastermind video event together about a year and a half ago. Year and a half ago. Yeah, and so if I'm a person, I want to relocate to Charleston, or I'm looking to move, or how can I contact you?
Well, thanks, Brian. You can call me at 843-906-5474 or text that same number. My email is adam@barksandassociates.com, and I'd love to talk with anyone who's looking to move to South Carolina.
Y'all, my name is Adam Barks with eXp Realty here in Charleston. Thank you so much for watching. If you're interested in learning more about living in Charleston, check out this playlist right here, and don't forget to subscribe right there.